And mental health is something that we don't talk about enough. In the black community, well, we're massively overrepresented in the mental health institutions, even more so than in the prisons. And again, these are questions we have to ask. Well, why?
But once you get a control and an understanding of who you are, no one can use you against you. No one can ever use your mental illness against you. You've already spoke about it, so what you got?
The biggest point in life to resolve mental health is like giving a fuck about a person.
Where did you get the courage? I got the courage. The 2 words. I care.
It's Chill Will Radio, where connections will be made, advice will be given, jokes will be told, and things will get real. My name is Willis Cooks, and I'm your host. But understand this show is not meant to be used as a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. Enjoy the show, y'all. Yo. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another dope episode of Chill Will Radio, man. This is number 46. And I'm back. It will be 47, but last week I was out, man. I was at my homeboy's bachelor party. I was at my homeboy's bachelor party in Vegas. I felt like I deserved a break. I felt like I deserved a little bit of something, man. I passed one of the first parts of my state test for my therapy license, right? Passed one of those tests. I was like, fuck it, why not? Let me go off and enjoy myself a bit. So I left. So that weekend was cool, but I'm back. I'm back here. It feels like I haven't been back here in a minute. I hope you miss me. Did you miss me? Because I miss me, and I miss y'all. But, as always, man, welcome to another episode of Chill Will Radio, man, where we're talking all things mental health, the good, the bad, the ugly, the not so ugly, the taboo, the things we ain't supposed to be talking about, all that good little shit. It's going to be done spoken here, man. Thank you to everyone that's tuning in. Thank you to everyone that will be tuning in later on down the show, tomorrow, next week, next year, whenever. Good looking to you, homie. Thank you to all those individuals who won't be listening at all, I say that every show, and I will continue to say that every show, because I believe it is important that those individuals understand that, even though, and it's not even about listening to a certain show, but it's about actually being knowledgeable that mental health does play a role in your life, right? It's not about listening to this show, but it's about being knowledgeable that mental health does play a role in your life, in all of our lives, right? Mental health is thoroughly way more important than our physical health, right? If we're mentally feeling like shit, we're going to physically feel like shit, right? Sometimes we can physically be super buff and in shape and everything, but we can still feel like trash. We can still be depressed. We can still be everything. The technical diagnosis for something like that is dysphoria, right? In which we are thinking negative about our self-image and things like that. But just because we're feeling physically a positive way does not mean we're mentally going to be feeling a positive way. So if we're not mentally feeling positive, things are going to go left real quick, right? So shout out to those individuals who don't listen to this show, to those individuals who don't believe mental health is important, to those individuals who believe that mental health is just some facade. Because it is a lot of people who think this is just some shit, right? And especially in our black community, right? Not really, they don't think it's bad. It's not like they think it's, a lot of us do think that's some white people shit, just get over it or whatnot. But we have to be open to it. We have to learn to be open to it. The more, and I think my last show was about being closed-minded. If we're closed-minded to the point that mental health is thoroughly important in our lives, whether male or female, whether transgender, gay, straight, bi, whatever it is, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Asian, Korean, wherever it is, wherever you're from, we all deal with it in some way, man. There's a lot of cultures who don't believe in mental illness at all, right? There's actually, I believe it's in India, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's in India that if you're diagnosed with some form of mental illness, you can't get married, right? And if you already married, you have to get a divorce, right? There are certain cultures in which mental illness within itself is just won't fly. You know, I'll write that down and make sure I have an episode about that later on in the future. But thank you to all those people who are listening in. So, how am I feeling? How have I been? What's going on with me? Man, I am doing really, really dope. Really, really dope. I am on like day 69 or some shit of like this fitness thing. I honestly really be, especially on the weekends, I be forgetting to post what number I be on, because at this moment, I'm just in the rhythm of actually going. Not in the rhythm of, you know, keeping count or doing this stuff. It's just a matter of going, right? And I think that for a lot of the things that we do, as long as we maintain that consistency, as long as we're consistent enough with it, it's just going to become a part of our life. Just going to become a part of our life. You're going to begin to feel weird not doing it because you're so used to doing it for X amount of days. And I tell a lot of people this, and I think I posted about this some time ago, that it's not about me working my ass off every single day. You know, it's not about with whatever you're doing, working your ass off every single day. It's just about showing up first, right? Because if I'm talking about I'm finna do this in the gym and blah, 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 you're skipping the first part, which is actually showing up. You're skipping the first part, which is actually getting there. You're skipping the first part, which is actually parking the car. You're getting out of your car and walking into the gym. Then you worry about what's going to happen there. And that's with anything in life that we have to deal with, right? Whether we're trying to build consistency in something, whether we're trying to create a habit, whether we're trying to get out of a habit. We don't need to worry about, you know, we don't need to worry about if we're going to go full throttle with it. We don't, because we're going to burn ourselves out, right? We all are going to have tragic days. We're all are going to have bad days. There's going to be some days in which you're just ass out. You're just tired. Like for me, there's been a bunch of days in which I've been in that gym probably for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I've had some of my worst workouts in that gym. But it's still about, at least I'm in there doing something. Whether it's I'm just doing a jump rope circuit and then I'm out of there. Whether it's I'm just on the Stairmaster and then I'm out of there. Whether it's I'm just doing this quick little circuit hit routine and then I'm out of there. Same with you. It's about no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're at, no matter how low your energy level may be, do not look for a reason to get out of it just because your energy level is low. No, adapt your workout, adapt your life, adapt to whatever you're doing to that. So if your energy is low, just don't go as hard as you normally would do, because you do not want to burn yourself out. And that's what happens, especially within, you know, this mental health field with a lot of my therapist colleagues, right? We burn ourselves out because we go all the way. We give our patients our everything. We give our clients our everything. We're all into it. We're giving up everything, but we're not giving into us. We're not giving anything to ourselves, right? And that's something that we have to be mindful to make sure that we consistently do on a regular basis, and make sure we give into ourselves. Because if you're not doing that, it's going to go left. If you're not doing that, you're going to fall off. If you're not doing that, what's going to happen is you're going to begin to hate your job. You're going to begin to hate whatever it is you're doing. You're going to begin to hate going to the gym. It's going to begin to feel like a chore, because every time you go, you're like, fuck, I got to do this shit again. I don't feel like doing this shit, but I got to do this. And then you look at the laundry list of things you're trying to do, or that laundry list of workout, of that workout plan that you're trying to get in that day at the gym. You're going to be like, fuck, I don't want to do this. And then the second that happens, every single thought and every single reason to not do it is going to pop up in your head. Everything. Oh shit, did I leave my light on in my bathroom? Let me go check, because I got to make sure I turn it off, because I don't want my electric bill to be high. Oh shit, did I, lock my door? Let me go back to the house. Oh shit, whoa. We're going to find every little small excuse to really just go back and cut it. And we do that with anything in life. What we have to understand is our brain sometimes is going to look for, not sometimes, always, our brain is going to look for the comfortable way out, right? Our brain and our body is going to look for the thing that's most efficient at the moment. So if it is very efficient for us and very comfortable for us to actually not work out, and if we're accustomed to not working out, what's going to happen is my brain is going to consistently come up with all of these thoughts. Do I still have those thoughts of not going? Hell yeah. Right? Sundays, I work out in the morning. Right? Sundays, I work out in the morning. Before work, I do a quick little 20-minute thing. I don't want to do that because there's certain days I don't want to go. Thursdays, I work 12-hour shifts. After 12-hour shifts, I go to either I go straight to the gym or I go play basketball in a little rec league that I'm in. I don't be wanting to do that shit.
Wait a minute.
But it's not about what you don't want to do. It's not about what you don't want to do because we have a lot of things in our life that we don't want to do. It's about what are you going to do for yourself at that moment. Just show up. That's it.
You know,
because we should begin to realize once you just show up to whatever it is, whether it's to a relationship, whether it's to a party, whether it's to the gym, whether it's to a relationship, whether it's to a friendship, whether it's to a job, whether it's to school, whether it's to, fighting depression or beating your mental illness or just trying to get out of your shit. As long as you just show up, a lot of the negative thoughts that we have had going into it, they're going to die out real quick. They're going to die out real quick because now our brain has to come up with another reason as to why I need to leave or I need to not do this, right? So that's what it is with me right now, right? I'm on like day 60 something. I'm on day 60 something when it comes to the gym, and I'm feeling good about it. Feeling very, very good about it. Also tonight, man, I'm going to fast. And the reason why I started fasting is solely because I started to get bored. And that's another thing in which we have to be mindful of. Be mindful of when you're getting bored. I started to get bored, and because I started to get bored, I needed to find something else to kind of spice things up. Throw something else into the fire. I believe I had that as a self-care, tip a few weeks back. The second you get bored, throw something else in there. And for me, fasting right now is that challenge, right? Fasting right now is that challenge because people always say the gym is the easy part. It's the diet that's the hard part. The gym is the easy part. It's the diet that's the hard part. And so far, fasting has been very enlightening. It's been very challenging. So I'm going to take it a step further and go 5 days. 5 straight days, water only. I made like a little electrolyte drink or whatever, but water only, man. Hopefully I'll be here on Sunday and I won't die. But that's about it, man. Just working, getting things straight, getting things together, man. Glad to be back. So, moving on forward into the self-care piece, right? The one thing that I believe is important that a lot of my personal friends deal with is we have a habit of explaining ourselves, right? We have a habit of overly explaining ourselves when there's not a need to. So the self-care piece that I want everyone to implement within their self-care regimen when it comes to things within your life, stick with whatever you're saying. If you're saying a no, stick with your no. If you're saying a yes, stick with your yes. But particularly your no. We don't need to explain ourselves. We don't. Stick with your no. Thoroughly important. Because one thing, when we begin to explain ourselves to someone, what's going to happen is that other person is not hearing it as a no because you started to explain yourself. Because you started to explain yourself, they're looking at it as like, oh, snaps, maybe that's a little way for me to kind of get in, or maybe it's still a hope, or maybe it's still whatever. You're giving that person hope when you're explaining yourself, right? When and this happens a lot with a lot of dudes, but when a lot of dudes try to go get at a girl and the girl says no because the guy's looking for every reason to knock out those reasons. So if I don't want to go somewhere because that certain person is there, okay, cool. If that person isn't there, then I have to go. Feel what I'm saying? Right? So those, stick with your nose, right? We don't need to explain ourselves for anything, right? We need to make moves based upon our choices. We need to make moves based upon the things that we want to do. I think the last self-care piece was create your schedule with you in mind first. I believe so. Create your schedule with you in mind first. And this is kind of the same thing, right? Move with your intentions first, right? Make moves based upon your choices. Make moves based upon your opinions. Make moves based upon what you want to do. Don't feel bad when the other person decides to guilt trip you into doing things, or decides to, try to tell you you're not good, or try to plead it. It's like, no. If your thing is a no, stick with it. Because certain people don't understand anything outside of that, right? If you say no, but whoop, to them it's a yes. You just need a no, not a I don't know, not a maybe, not a we'll see, not a whatever. Stick to the no. And it's hard. It's hard for those individuals who are used to giving an explanation. It is hard for those individuals who feel as if they need to give the explanation because they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. It's hard to get out of that habit, right? But just like anything else, it takes practice. It takes time. It takes patience. You got to do what you got to do. And that means that you have to stick with what you need to stick with, right? So the self-care piece, the self-care regimen that I want everyone to implement within their self-care piece is to stick with your nose. No need to explain your nose. No need to back off on your nose. No need to do none of that. Stick with your nose. No means no, partner. Don't need a why. Don't need a but. Don't need a because. No. Say no. Moving forward. All right. So moving on forward to the self-care piece. To the main topic. Always happens. Moving on forward to the main topic. So the topic for today. In life, right? And I deal with this a lot, especially with a lot of my depressed patients. In life, what happens is to all of us, myself, my man Didier over here, to anybody that's listening, what happens in life is that we get knocked over the head. We get up. We get knocked over the head again. We get up. We get knocked over the head again. We get up. We get knocked over the head again. Right? What happens in life is that we have all of these problems. And our problems don't come we don't get one problem a month. We don't get one problem a year. We get 4 problems per day. Right? We get punched in the face by life. We get up, we get a 3-piece to the gut. We get up, we get uppercut, and then God decides to come smack us up and beat us. It gets really bad. I say this all the time in a lot of my groups, is that life isn't peaches and cream and all of this other stuff. Life isn't none of that, right? If we live life expecting that life is going to be pretty, you're going to be wrong really quick. You're going to find out life is hard real fast. Life isn't going to do anything but give us bags of shit. Life gives us bags of shit all the time. Life isn't about cleaning up all of those bags of shit. Life is more so about figuring out which bag of shit smells the best, right? Which one of those problems you can actually deal with. Because we have a lot. We have a lot to deal with. But the thing is that sometimes we really get defeated. We really get defeated, and we really see ourselves in this hole and thinking that we will never, ever be able to get out. Because all I know is problems. All I know is pain. All I know is heartache. All I know is everything else. Every negative thing else, should I say. So the question is, why do bad things consistently happen to us? That's what we're talking about today. Why do bad things consistently happen to us? Why do bad things consistently happen to me? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Right? I probably could come up with some theoretical type of answer and all of these other things. But to be flat honest, I don't know. Because there's a lot of reason as to why many things happen to us on a regular basis. There's a lot of things that many things happen to us on a regular basis. But what I do know is we have to look at how we're looking at the situation. We have to look at how we're looking at the situation. And for me, that's what I believe is more important. Not that the fact that things are happening to you on a regular basis, because things are always going to happen to you. Things are never going to be super easy, right? Just because I may have $1 million in the bank don't mean it's easy, right? And just because I may be broke don't mean I got it simple. Like, it can get bad. It can get tricky really, really quickly. But why? I don't know. But we have to look at how we're looking at it. The first thing, before we even get into, how we look at our situations and why we look at it a certain way, right? First thing we got to understand is that, give yourself the time to actually be pissed off. Give yourself the time to actually be angry. Give yourself the time to be sad. Give yourself the time to feel guilty a little bit. Give yourself the time to feel these things, because you have every right to feel that way, right? We all, myself, and anybody else listening to this, you have every single right to feel like trash. You do. We all have every single right to feel like trash, because it's an emotion, right? The second we begin to bottle up emotions, they're gonna blow up some form of way. Whether it's on a person, whether it's on your girlfriend, whether it's on your boyfriend, family, friends, at work, on yourself, whatever. The emotions that you hold in, they're going to come out some type of way. They're going to come out some type of way. So understand that it's okay to feel like trash. Feel those feelings, experience those feelings, and be okay with them, right? Because it's about the balance, right? I'm not a super, super duper fan of like anger management. Right? I'm not a super duper fan of figuring out how to control. Well, no, I'm not a fan of figuring out how to control my anger. I'm more on the side of figuring out how to manage it. Right? I'm not a fan of figuring out how to control my anger, because that's what a lot of people say. I need to figure out how to control my emotions. I need to figure out how to control my anger. We're not trying to control that. We're not a robot. You can't turn my emotions off like a light switch. You can't turn my thoughts off like a light switch. What's gonna have to happen is I have to understand at what point in life should this emotion be utilized. At what point in life is this emotion effective? Because there are times when sadness is effective. There are times when anger is effective. There are times when feeling happiness and being joyful and being appreciative is effective. Figuring out at which moment are these emotions effective and use it then. It's all about the balance. It's extremely hard to balance it out. It's extremely hard to figure things out, but it's all about that perspective, right? How are we going to balance things? Not how are we going to control things, but how are we going to balance things, right? And that's going into the first things that I want everyone to look at, when we're in this mindset of things are constantly happening to us. Why are things constantly happening to us? I want you to take a second and look at how you're allowing your emotions to take over your thinking, right? I want you to take a second and look at how you are allowing your emotions to take over your thinking. Are you leading with your emotions first? Right? Are you leading with your emotions first? When you're in a relationship, the one thing you should never do, the one thing that's never really, really productive, the one thing that's always probably going to backfire, is to try to talk something out while you're pissed off. Try to talk something out while you're mad, while you're sad, while your emotions are high, because you're not thinking logically, right? You're not thinking at your most effective potential, right? Because when we're leading with our emotions first, we're blinded by the other person's feeling. We're blinded to the other person's feelings. We're blinded to how that other person may feel. We're blinded to, trying to understand that other person. It's just all about me, because I feel a certain way, because I'm sad, or because I'm angry. Everything that comes at us, we're going to look at it as an attack. When we're leading with our emotions first, we're in defense mode. When we're leading with our emotions first, we're in defense mode. And when we're in defense mode, trying to operate with people, it's never going to be productive. It's never going to be productive, because everything that person says, you're going to look at it as it's an attack on you. It's an attack on your values, on your beliefs, on how you feel, on everything. It's an attack on all of that. So we can't lead with our emotions first, because we're going to be defensive. And being defensive to anything is not bad unless it's warranted, unless you're in a position to where being defensive is needed. But when we're leading with our emotion first, we don't know what we're doing, right? We have to understand, though. And I was saying this earlier. We have to understand, though, is that we have to experience those emotions and not be stuck in those emotions, right? We have to experience those emotions and not be stuck in those emotions, right? Because if we're stuck in those emotions, we're going to be taking everything personal. Everything is going to be an attack on us. We're going to be mad all the time. We're never going to get over this. Things are going to consistently happen to us. Every little itty bitty thing that happens, we're going to take it all, right? It could be, I don't know, a penny that fell on your foot. But because you're stuck in your anger, because you're stuck in your sadness, you're going to act like the penny falling on your foot is the worst thing in the world. Nah. We want to make sure we're not stuck in those emotions, because that's where depression starts. That's where anxiety starts. That's where a lot of mood disorder starts, because we're stuck in a specific mood, right? And then when we're stuck in that specific mood for so long, we don't know how to get out of it. For those individuals who are sad for X amount of months or X amount of years, they don't know how to get out of sadness, because sadness has become comfortable. Sadness has become a way of life for them. Sadness has become safe. So telling that person to get out of their sadness, they're looking at it as like it's disrespectful. Are you telling me that I don't have the right to feel sad? Are you telling me that I shouldn't feel sad because XYZ happened to me? What are you telling me? See, we can't be stuck in those emotions. We have to experience these emotions. If you're pissed off and if you're mad, take your ass outside. And the thing that the kids do at my other job all the time is they take their ass outside, grab a bucket of ice, and throw it against the wall. Right? We also do this on the trauma unit in the hospital. Right? They have this anger wall. That's what it's called. The anger wall. We have clay. They have clay stones, and they just throw it at this wall. And everything that they're throwing at their wall, what they're doing is they're visualizing what they're throwing it to. Am I throwing it at a person? Am I throwing it at my pain? Am I throwing it at my trauma? Am I throwing it at my life? Am I throwing it at whatever? Because it's about getting it out. We have to experience those emotions to get that out, whether it's sadness. Take your ass in your room and cry. Take your ass in your shower and cry. Take you to your homeboy, to your homegirl and cry. It's okay. Crying is literally getting all of those stuff out of your system. Crying is probably one of the most therapeutic things out here, but yet, especially men. I know myself. I don't know too much about you, Diddy, but especially men. When it comes to crying, we're like, I don't really know. But I understand the therapeutic aspect when it comes to crying, because there are so many patients, so many people who just say crying is just a relief. Sometimes we just have to break down, and when we come across situations in which we believe things are happening to us back to back to back to back to back, it's because we just haven't broken down yet. We haven't hit rock bottom yet. Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom, cry our ass off, and then we're gonna feel better. Then everything gonna be good, right? But when we're not looking at how we're leading with our emotions, where we're not paying attention to how we're allowing our emotions to take over our thinking, to take over our thoughts, we're going to be stuck for a while, y'all. Right? So look at how your emotions are taking over your thoughts. Understand you need to experience the emotions, not be stuck in the emotions, right? Another thing we need to look at when it comes to, us focusing on the fact that things are always happening to us. Look at our expectations when it comes to life. Look at our expectations when it comes to people. Look at our expectations when it comes to things, right? I was having a conversation with my girlfriend about this the other day, is that we should not have expectations on nobody, but we should have all of the expectations on ourselves, right? We should not have any expectations on nobody, but we should have all of the expectations on ourselves, right? Because unmet expectations leads to anxiety. Unmet expectations leads to anger. Unmet expectation leads to sadness, my bad. Unmet expectation leads to things that you don't want to deal with. It leads to negative feelings, right? And frankly, if I put an expectation on someone else, for example, if I put an expectation on, I don't know, my girl, if I put an expectation on my girl and my girl didn't ask for that expectation, that's unfair, right? That's unfair and that's controlling. We can't be trying to, we don't have the right and the ability to control anyone. And then also we need to give that person the ability to choose if they want to live up to that expectation, because maybe they actually can't, right? We can't expect, and then when it comes to life, right, we have to understand that in life, we're going to get knocked upside the head. In life, things are going to get bad. In life, things are going to get good. In life, things are going to be great. You're going to have your highs, you're going to have your lows, you're going to have your in-betweens to where you're just chilling. But when it comes to the expectations that we put on life, we have to understand that when we're leading with these expectations of my life is going to be great and everything in my life is going to be fine and peaches and cream and my life is going to be full of unicorns and all these other things, hell no. If you're leading with those expectations, things are always going to go left. Things are always going to go left. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a positive outlook on life. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be optimistic. I'm saying that you shouldn't be delusional, right? I'm saying that you shouldn't be naive, right? There's a difference between the two. Difference between being naive and being optimistic, right? When things happen to us, we're optimistic about the thing that has happened to us. That's what optimism is. But if we're just thinking everything is going to be good regardless if things happen to me or not, that's being delusional. When we're thinking that we're perfect and we're impenetrable and nothing ever is going to happen to us, that's delusional. Like, you got to get out of that mindset, because it's not going to happen like that. It's not going to happen like that at all. So the one thing we got to understand is that, how are we looking at life? How are we looking at people, right? We shouldn't have expectations for other people, because if we do that, people are always going to let us down. If we do that, people are forever going to let us down, and we can't. It'd be unfair for us to try to force that person to live up to an expectation that we shouldn't have put on them. They didn't ask for it. They didn't ask for it at all. So we have to be mindful of that, right? But when it comes to the expectations, that we're placing on ourselves, we have to live up to those, right? When it comes to the expectations that we place on ourselves, we have to live up to those. Why? Because we can control that, right? We can control it. And if we can control it, we can make it feel better, right? We can fix whatever we need to fix, right? We need to expect you to be great. You need to expect greatness. You need to expect yourself to be dope, right? If you don't, and if you just expect yourself to be trash, if you just expect yourself to be miserable, what's going to happen? You're going to be trash. You're going to be miserable. It's a simple concept, right? What are the expectations that you're putting on yourself? Me, I expect myself to go to the gym every day. I expect myself to hit that 90-day mark. And I'm going to do it. And I have the ability to control that. I don't have the ability to control the outside forces. So despite what happens outside of me, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it happen regardless. Okay? So let's look at our expectations when it comes to life, when it comes to people, when it comes to ourselves. If things are constantly happening to you, look at your expectations, right? Another thing we have to look at, if things are constantly happening to us, right? Look at how we are responding to whatever is happening to us, right? Look at how we're responding to whatever is happening to us. If we're being pessimistic about it, or if we're being optimistic about it, right? If something is happening to us and I'm like, shit always like this, shit forever gonna be bad, I ain't never gonna be good, and blah, 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 and all these other things, it's gonna forever be bad. What you're doing is you're creating the cycle, right? We all know that book, The Secret, and all that good stuff. We all know the power of our thoughts. We all know how we can manifest things into reality. If we're constantly looking at things negative in a negative way, negative things are going to happen. If we're constantly responding to things in a negative way, you're going to get a negative response, right? You're going to get something that's not really effective. It's not really productive. We're going to get the things that we don't want to get because we're just like, fuck it, blah, 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 blah. And I knew this was going to happen. But if you're a little bit optimistic, that doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to be great. But what that means is that the blow isn't going to hit as hard, right? When we're optimistic about a situation, when we're optimistic about a negative things, that doesn't mean that that negative thing is going to disappear, but it means that the blow that that negative thing could cause is not going to be as big, right? The repercussion from it is not going to be as crazy. And that's what's most important. The fact that we are able to survive the bullshit. The fact that we are able to survive the bullshit. And if you are responding to these negative things in a negative way, it's going to forever come. And that moves on to the next portion, the next, thing we should look at. If things are constantly happening to us, maybe we need to look at ourselves, and we need to look at how we are allowing these negative things to happen to us, how we are creating these negative things, how we are manifesting these negative things to happen in our life. Because if we're responding to it negatively, then everything that comes after that is going to be negative. Then whose fault is it? Right? If something negative happens and we respond to that negative, and the negative thing that comes after that negative response, whose fault is it? Yours, right? Maybe the negative things that are happening to us, it's our fault. Maybe it's because we're not getting up and doing the best we could to fight this depression. Maybe it's because we're not getting up and doing everything we can to get through this pain. Maybe it's because we're not going to therapy like we're supposed to do. Maybe it's because I'm not putting my pride to the side. Maybe it's because I'm not willing to be emotional. Maybe it's because I'm not willing to be in touch with my feelings. Whatever it is, maybe it's because you're not doing something that you know you're supposed to be doing. And that's the thing when it comes to a lot of problems in our life. We know what the hell we're supposed to be doing. We know what we're supposed to be doing. We know it, right? A therapist is nothing but a professional facilitator. A therapist is nothing but a professional facilitator, period. We don't have the answers to your problems. We don't know the answers to your problems. We may assume it based upon what you tell us, but we don't really know. The thing is, you know. Because you know everything that went on in your life. You know everything that happened up until that point. It is our job as therapists to help facilitate you through that journey of getting to that answer that you are looking for. And getting to that answer that you need to accept. Right? So a lot of the things, one of the reasons why negative things constantly happen to us is because we sometimes may constantly be allowing those negative things to happen to us. And that's a hard pill to swallow. It's a very, very, very hard pill to swallow. But it's a pill that we must follow. Right? And one last thing is when it comes to why negative things constantly happen to us, is wrong time, wrong place type of thing. Wrong place, wrong time. Sometimes shit just happens. We don't understand why negative things happen to us all the time. We may not understand why this has to happen. Wrong place, wrong time, or maybe this was supposed to happen. Think about that. Maybe that negative thing that happened to you in your life was supposed to happen in order for something greater to happen. I said this on a few shows ago, that maybe trauma is God's way of resetting your life. Maybe trauma is God's way of letting you know you need to get your shit together. Maybe these constant things happening to you is God's way of trying to tell you, like, hey, motherfucker, I'm trying to let you see that you need to get the shit in order, but you ain't trying to listen. So all this shit gonna constantly happen until you listen. Right? So when it comes to the things that are constantly happening to us, let's look at how we are allowing our emotions to take over our thinking. Let's look at how our expectations are. Let's look at how we are responding to situations. And let's look at if we are causing these problems unto ourselves. Let's look at those things. Because if we begin to look at those things objectively, then maybe the punches, right, that you're getting hit with, that life is throwing at you, maybe life will get tired and give you a break for a little bit. Because we all deserve a break, but you have to give yourself that break. All right? So, moving on forward into the question that I don't really ever come up with, but the question that is brought to me through the energy within the show. The question I have for you all that I would like for everyone to take with you is, when it comes to the things that consistently happen to us in life, how quickly are you to blame yourself? How quick do you blame yourself? If you don't blame yourself, who do you blame to the things that happen? Because everything happens for a reason. And whether you like it or not, we have a play in the negative things that happen to us. It is not our fault. A lot of the things that happen to us isn't our fault, but the way we respond to it is going to determine what's negative or positive. It's going to determine how we move forward. All right? So, to all those people that's tuning in, good looking. To all those people that's going to be tuning in tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, whenever. Shout out to you, big homie. To all those people who ain't never, ever really gonna listen to the show or deal with anything when it comes to mental health, man, good looking. Shouts out to you too, because you probably ain't caught on yet, but you will catch on eventually, man. And always remember, ain't no wealth without your mental health, man. So please stay blessed and take care of yourself. Be great, y'all. Peace.